Hello and welcome to episode 93 of the Boot Nerds podcast. J-Mike, that is stellar.
How you doing?
Wow. I need you to send me one of those.
If you really truly want to actually wear it, then I will send you the entire outfit. Let me just show off here. I'm also wearing the
Oh
pants.
my goodness.
Yeah,
I need
and-
the pants. I need them.
And shoes.
Oh my goodness. This guy, style like this has never been achieved. This is peak style.
Yeah, from like in terms of like negative points, I guess. I'm not feeling particularly comfortable in this, but I wore it today for a Unisport live session, and it wasn't a good idea. I just thought it would be fun, and I think a lot of people had a lot of fun on my expense. So there you have it, Boot Nerds. Laugh away.
You know what you kind of look like in that outfit? I don't know if you guys have
I've
McDonald's.
heard a lot of things today. So,
No, but you guys have McDonald's there. But did you guys have the Hamburglar?
No.
No?
But I can kind of guess where you're going.
Yeah, that's what you look like. You look like the Hamburglar. That's what you remind me of.
Yeah, okay. We took some really stupid photos, by the way. PBG was also here, and he had me like pose like, rappers and all that stuff. And, skinny white guy like myself with a stupid zebra hat and outfit on, it doesn't look very swag.
Oh man, I can't wait.
No,
You need to make sure you call yourself Lil J in whatever you post. That'd be great. I'd appreciate that.
Right. So that was all for you guys. I'll never do that again. But Josh, today is episode 93. We're gonna talk as is customary. We're gonna talk about the 5 best football boots of the year. This is the official Boot Nerds top 5 boots of 2020. And the thing is that since so many boots have come out this year that are very good, we have had to make a shared list, also not to spoil all the fun when we make a list on SR4U and Unisport that are our individual lists. So
Which by the way are very different. We did not agree on the order of any of these, I don't think.
we actually none of them were the same. That's pretty impressive. I thought we would at least agree on number 1, but we didn't. So the thing is that this is like a list that we have chopped up and agreed on that we feel is like solid. We can both vouch for that, I think. And we'll probably let you know if we harshly disagree. But yeah. So if you want to watch our individual list, remember to also go and watch those on our separate channels. Also, of course, if you have any questions for us, any comments, think we've lost our minds with the top 5, let us know in the comment section right down below. Leave a like on the video. We'll greatly appreciate it. It's going to help us in the big world of the YouTube algorithm, so more people actually get to watch the Boot Nerds podcasts. If you don't want to look at our faces or my ridiculous outfit, you can also listen to the podcast on bootnerds.com or wherever you listen to your podcast. It's all there. It's really good. But Josh, let's get into it. Top 5 boots of the year. Like maybe just talk about the year real quick. Sum it up.
2020 was a year of a lot of things.
Oh yes.
I don't think many would describe it as a good year, but I think it was a very good year for football boots.
Agreed.
It's actually, when we went to make this list, I was surprised at how many boots I could just instantaneously name, at which point it became a little bit difficult to put them in some kind of order. And honestly, I gave you my list 1 to 5, and I feel like tomorrow my opinion could be different because there's that many good boots. And
I know the feeling, yeah.
I constantly change my mind.
Yeah.
But there was some really good stuff this year. Like we complained so much about new stuff coming out for no apparent reason, but we got some legit good new tech, good new concepts, and just boots that perform and feel really good.
And that's actually the thing these days. When we last week when we talked about the future sets, right? We were a little bit critical about how it was. It's good, but it didn't have that X factor. And of course it does, but compared to some of the other boots out there that really have a very, very clear, a very in-your-face USP, unique selling proposition, of course. It just speaks volumes that the boots are so good now. It's not enough to just do a really well-fitting football boot that's light and has a great touch on the ball. No, you need something a little bit extra to diversify yourself from all the other good boots out there, because comfort these days is just a given. Like no one out there, bar the New Balance Tequila 3s, no boots out there are really like straight up uncomfortable. And that's really something that 2020 has given us, just good boots more or less all across the board.
Yeah, the standard right now is super high.
Oh, it's never been better,
it's,
to be honest.
It's great that in any category, while they're just marketing categories, you could pick your category of choice, and there are typically multiple good options in that category, which we haven't always been able to say. So, do we start with honorable mentions? Is that how we should do this? Or should we end with? I feel like ending with honorable mentions keeps it more suspenseful in terms of what we could potentially pick.
What I would do is what we usually do in the Unisport videos for the sake of suspense, because we want to keep people hanging around, right? We do 5, 4, 3, 2, and then we do honorable mentions just because we don't want to. We want to keep the suspense for number one. So maybe we should do that.
Let's do that. I like that's a much better idea.
Cool.
Perfect.
So number 5, what we ended up agreeing was that we have the X Ghosted Plus from Adidas. And it's actually something that you spoke warmly about. I actually had a different boot there.
These weren't technically in your top 5.
They weren't, and that's because I chose the 0.1s. I can be very honest about that. But I can easily agree with the Ghosted Pluses being in the top 5 because, as you said, and you made a brilliant point. You said that that it has been the first laceless football boot that is in the speed boot category that really works. It is a speed boot. It's a laceless. It's probably the best fitting laceless boot we've had so far. And it also does really well in terms of lockdown. And everything you want in a speed boot, the X Ghosted Plus kind of delivers. It feels different to the 0.1s. And I personally prefer the 0.1s because I like the better lockdown, but still you get enough of that in the pluses to give you something very, very unique. And I don't think there's any other boot out there that will get even close to that. So it's a brilliant, brilliant football boot.
Yeah, I think for me, the X Ghosted Plus was the biggest surprise of 2020 because I always have my expectations low for laceless football boots, especially laceless speed boots. Because like when you talk about what defines a speed boot and what makes it good, it's lockdown, it's responsiveness, it's that tightness, and it's very tricky to get that out of a laceless product. And given the technical approach that Adidas went with the new X Ghosted line in general, it's really impressive what they were able to do given how many new things are happening on that X Ghosted Plus. The shape is just right. It looks incredible. The lockdown and the fit is remarkably good, all things considered, and they're not impossible to put on, which is also kind of surprising. You think they'd be impossible, really well done. Like if you're really into the laceless thing and you want a speed boot, that's the one to have by a long shot.
Agreed. And it looks phenomenal. You have it next to you, right?
I do have it right here. Sorry, that was my cue. I was supposed to have this out. I'm unprepared. But yes, the X Ghosted Plus, just seriously, probably the coolest looking football boot of 2020 as well. Just so technically impressive. If you haven't seen these in person yet, pictures and video do it no justice.
You bring out the precision to blur pack. Bro, you hurt my feelings. Best looking. You bring out that. Come on.
Wait, which one should I have brought out?
The memory lanes. I know you don't technically have them yet as we're recording this, but you know.
Oh, but that's not a plus.
That's true, but it's still, like, those are better looking than the pluses.
Okay.
Anyway,
okay.
I'm being childish here. Sorry about that. You're right. Tooling at least is like second to none when it comes to it looks amazing. It looks amazing.
Okay, it's sweet. Number 4. Let's go.
Predator 20.1s. And this is another one where we didn't quite agree on the play. We didn't basically agree on any placement of the boots.
I had these higher than you did.
Yeah, and I think we both agreed that they had to be on the list. Because not only we haven't even discussed the Predator 20 Pluses actually, and I think they would deserve a shout as well, because they are very good football boots, but this just brings everything to the table that I want, at least. I feel that the grip is a bit more balanced than it is on the 20 plus, where it can be a little bit overwhelming. The fit is very nice. You obviously get lockdown from the laces, and it just. I have a hard time, defining what I would like more in a boot like this. Maybe to have a slightly more pliable upper, because it gets a little bit rigid because of all the many rubber spikes. But it's doing so many things right, this one, and it's light too.
Yeah, I think, look, the Predator 20 generation in general, like, well done to Adidas for taking such an extreme concept and making it work. I think the reason why we picked the 20.1 low is we both agree it's the best variation of all the Predator 20 options. Definitely, I think it's better than the 20 plus in terms of fit and lockdown. But for me, what's special about the Pred 20, similar to the X Ghosted Plus, is it's really a football boot that separates itself from everything else. Like, not only does it have this unique concept that works really well, but that unique concept is entirely different than what you can get from any other football boot from any other brand right now. So if you really want that additional grip on the ball, which is very unique in terms of its experience when it comes to just general contact, dribbling, controlling the ball, but also shooting especially, is something that I really like about it. Nothing does it quite like those. And you're right, there's room for improvement in the upper. We got that special edition kangaroo leather fusion skin version of the Predator 20 Plus. If we could get that kind of upper on a low cut version of the Pred with some laces, my God, you've got a number one of 2021 Adidas. I'll tell you that right now.
We'll take 10%.
But, exactly. 10% for sure.
But that's the thing. And if I can just quickly interrupt you here, if you want, as you said, the amount of grip on the ball, the Predator is the only boot that can deliver something like this. If you want a speed boot, you can go buy an X Ghosted or an Ultron or a Mercurial or Furon, Morelli Neo. But this is the only boot that does what the Pred does. And that's so, that's really extraordinary. And it actually, the good thing is that it actually works. There are many boots that are the only ones doing what they do. We can mention the Topo boots, but they're not necessarily good football boots. This is a great football boot.
Yeah. Sick option. One of my personal favorites of the year for sure. Number three,
and it just occurred to me, we have another Adidas boot because we ended up agreeing on the X Ghosted 0.1s. Is that a bit boring? Yes, that's your cue, Josh, by the way. Is that a bit boring? Yes.
I'm so bad. This is why, just for the record, just behind the scenes of the Boot Nerds podcast, I'm almost never responsible for having boots to show on camera. This is why. 100%.
You had two jobs. But basically, the X Ghosted 0.1 is there because I feel it's something that gives people what they've been asking for. Basically, the F50 Adizero brought back. Yes, it has a different name, but if you liked what the F50 Adizero gave you, then this will give you all of that and some. And it works. It's just like a symphony of elements that play well together. Super thin, actually pretty comfortable upper. Solid lockdown, great heel, and that that tooling with the Carbitex and the lifted forefoot is absolutely outstanding. And for me, it was the best speed boot of 2020 when it comes to like raw speed.
Yeah, that a very poetic description, by the way.
Thank you.
But what I think is cool about this is something that the enthusiast community, people that watch the Boot Nerds podcast, have been asking for seemingly
ages.
It's been at least 4 or 5 years since synthetics kind of went away and everything turned into knits and textiles.
People wanted the Adizero back, and we haven't really gotten that apart from the X99.1. And when that came out, we discussed that boot on the channel and said we want this in line. We want it to become a thing, and it has become a thing now with the X Ghosted Plus 0.1. Sorry, just better.
I know, and we didn't even get 10%, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, are you going to call the lawyer, or should I?
I think I'll let you do it. You seem to be better with that kind of thing than I am.
Oh well, but you're probably too nice. Because he's Canadian. It's a joke. Yeah. Okay.
Anyways, look, not only is this like a return of the F50 for fans of the F50 Adizero series, I think this is a great option for fans of Teijin synthetic mercurial vapors that are no longer a thing, right?
Absolutely.
This proved to me, because I was starting to question myself. I'm like, do I just have this like these great memories of synthetic boots and they're actually not as good as I remember them to be? No, because clearly it's possible to do a great synthetic football boot in 2020. And when you combine it with the tooling, this being arguably the best sole plate and stud pattern of 2020, certainly the most technically impressive.
Yes.
Like they've proved that this is a concept that can still work, and they've done it in an extremely technical way that looks the part. My only real complaint with this boot is I'm still not in love with this way that they've done the one-piece upper and the lacing system.
Okay.
It's not that there's anything wrong with it, but I would love to see how this boot would fit and feel with just a traditional central lacing system and a regular tongue like the 2014 F50 as an example. Even something a little bit off-centered like the 2010 F50 model, that would be cool to see as well. But that's really my only complaint, and it's a small gripe.
Well, let me show you. Keep talking.
Oh my goodness, there is exactly the boot that I'm talking about does exist. Look, designing boots is starting to go to this guy's head, I have to say. But you know what? If I were in his shoes, I'd be showing them off too. Exactly the boot I described.
You
Super
asked
cool
for it,
that
right?
they did that. I did ask for it.
Just this is the new city pack. I'm just gonna show it off whenever. I should just keep it on my desk at all times just to show off when I can.
You need to get t-shirts. You know, we had the J-Mike t-shirts at one point in time. You need to get a t-shirt of like just all the boots stacked.
Ooh.
And like, that'd be actually pretty cool. You guys should actually do that.
Someone should totally actually do that. Yeah.
That would be sick.
Oh, right. Yeah. But
I'll take 10%.
Goes to point ones. Definitely deserve. I even feel to be higher up the list. If you're a speed boot fanatic and one of the really, really strong releases this year. But there's been a lot of good ones. And the next one I think we can both agree on is something that we both always ranted about. But I think this year they have outdone themselves significantly. And that is the Mizuno Morelia Neo 3 Beta Japans. We were not quite in agreement on whether where they should be on the list. One of us had it as number 1, the other had it as number 4. But so we, or 3 or 4.
3, I had 3.
It was Josh.
It was me.
It was Josh. So now you just basically revealed the entire Unisport. But that's all cool. I'll edit that out.
Oh, I screwed it up. I'm so sorry.
But basically, this is a boot I think that's really hard to argue against being in the top 5 best boots of the year 2020. It took something that was already one of the best boots on the market and they made it even better. And I think it's fair to say that with the Neo 3 Beta Japans, you have something that's not only a good speed boot, a brilliant speed boot, in fact, but it's something that I think everyone can go out and wear because it's so comfortable and actually enjoy.
Yeah, it's the football boot that we waited 10 years for. Because look, original Morelia Neo came out in 2010, correct? Yeah. And it really didn't change much up until this year. But I think what they did really well with the Neo 3 Beta is not ruining the original recipe. It still has the same core DNA and familiarity of what the Morelia Neo has always been, but it's been modernized with the implementation of a one-piece upper, the knits. It's still comfortable. It still fits fairly similarly overall. It hasn't gained a ton of weight like we see so many speed boots do over time. It's everything that they should have done and nothing more, which I think is good. Because Mizuno, better than any other football boot brand, I think knows exactly what their customers want. And I think if you are a fan of the Morelia Neo series, it's really hard to be upset with the changes that were made, which it's maybe not as dramatic as all the other boots that we have on this list because they're pretty much all new designs. This, if you just look at it, doesn't appear to be that different from previous Morelia Neos. But if you're really familiar with the Morelia Neo or Morelia Neo 2, I think you'll really appreciate all of the fine little tweaks that they made throughout the entire boot that make this that much better.
Well said. I just thought about it, and this to me is probably the best all-round boot on the market right now, because no matter if you're looking for a speed boot, if you're looking for a good touch, nice comfort, this gives you a little bit of everything. It's like they just took like the three main pillars you talk about when you look at football boots and just managed to cram it all into one. And that's very impressive.
And do that effectively, right? That's the thing that's tricky about blending that many different materials and textures. It does it and it makes it feel seamless, which is hard to do.
Yes. And I think even people who are not necessarily looking for a speed boot can wear these and feel at home. And that's very impressive.
Yeah.
So sure. That's number two. Number one is what we're going to reveal after the honorable mentions, just to keep the tension a little bit. And it may surprise you, but also it will make a lot of sense when we actually discuss it. Josh, honorable mentions. Now that we let's stay in Japan, because you have with you, I hope that was you have.
I do have it, and I'm prepared. The Morelia Zero. Now this is like a really off the wall, strange pick. I don't think many people would think of this, but anybody that actually has held these in their hands or had them on their feet will totally understand what I'm talking about, because it's really just kind of a Morelia.
It's unreal though.
Oh, it is to me. This was the most comfortable football boot of 2020. Like just oozing in style. I know it's very old school. I know it's not for everybody. I think people who are watching the Boot Nerds podcast and are 20 minutes into us talking right now will all appreciate the Morelia Zero. It's difficult for me to put this on a top 5 list because it's not really them reinventing the wheel. It's just them perfecting perfection, if that makes any sense at all.
Wow, that is
pretty
philosophical,
good, right?
Actually.
Very philosophical, but I love it. It's amazing.
But you're right, and it's like a loving tribute to classic leather football boots by just doing the best they can with the best materials. So if you love that Copa Mundial Morelia 2 kind of feel, that is just that feeling, but on steroids. It's so lovely.
And they're so light. That's the thing that's so crazy about these. They don't weigh anything, even though they look so kind of old school. Man, they're just, what a football boot.
But that's the thing about the Morelia, right? It has always been super, super light. We talk about the Copas being like all-time greats, but for me, that is the Morelia, because the Morelia was, I prefer the fit in that. And it was so much lighter than the Copas. But we're going off track. I also really want to bring up the Repulite Cups, because while they are different to the Repulite 3s, which I enjoyed a lot, they're still very good football boots and sit really well in the middle of that, modern tech and really classic leather comfort and elegance. One of the best toolings on the market for like general use right now. I think you'll agree when I say that. And it's just like a lovely football boot. Might get stuck a little bit in, it's not as loud as the Repulite 3s, and I think that will hurt the silo a bit, but definitely a really good pair of football boots.
Yeah, really solid for sure.
Mm-hmm. Then we also have the, what else should we talk about? We're in Leathertown. This might surprise a few people. Now we're going to wait with that. Future Set also deserves a mention. A little bit like the Repulite Cup, something that a lot of people would probably enjoy, but also lacking that little X factor.
Very well-rounded football boot, but hard to say top 5 in my opinion.
And you could kind of say the same, and one of us argued that you could say the same about the Phantom GTs. We had a little bit of a discussion around this because, we talked about that it's definitely very wearable and it's really hard to be mad at, but does it have enough? We didn't feel that it did.
Yeah, too safe in my opinion. And not different enough from what they already do really well.
Yes. Then there's the Furon 6, which is a little bit funny because it's definitely the best New Balance boot ever, in my opinion. Tell me if you disagree or not, but
100% the best they've ever done.
Yeah, and it still doesn't make the top 5 list. That's a bit of a shame, but I just feel the speed boot market right now is so good.
Yeah.
I can't justify having it on the list. I just can't.
Yeah. but definitely a great pair of football boots.
Right. Final honorable mention, and this might come as a bit of a shock with at least me included, but Techcraft 13.
That one, and that's really other than Morelia Zero as well. I guess for this list, we didn't really include a lot of limited edition stuff,
right?
For the most part. And we also should have specified at the very start of the podcast, but I don't think we did, that the boots that are on this list have to have come out in 2020.
Oh, yes.
They released beforehand, then they technically weren't eligible. These did come out in 2020, but
they did.
The Techcraft Vapor 13 Elite is I would say the best Techcraft Mercurial ever made.
Yes. And the reason we didn't, I would have argued for a long, long time to have this on the list, but because it is a Vapor 13 that technically came out last year, we only wanted to bring it up as a limited edition because it's so nice, and it would be one of those boots that I think everyone can wear. It has so much going for it, just like the Morelia Neo 3s. It's a dead race for me between those two, I would say.
Okay, cool.
Right.
Which brings us to the big moment.
The official Boot Nerds podcast best boot of 2020. This bad boy. Yes. The official.
Of course.
Number one, Puma Ultra 1.1 The Drip. Exactly this colorway, of course. No, I'm kidding. But the thing is with the Puma Ultra, again, we it wasn't both of us that had this as number one, but I think we both agreed that it needed to be high up the list, right? And
yes.
I think what you can say is that 200 euros, you get one of the best speed boots on the market, probably the best if you have wide feet. It does so many things right. Puma go their own way in terms of really bringing something new to the table. It's ridiculously light. And it just really redeems Puma in the speed boot race. And it's something I think that everyone can wear, feel very comfortable in. It fits all foot shapes. 200 euros. So much value for money.
Yeah. Look, the price is one thing. I think the comfort is something they've done really well. You mentioned this being what I would argue is Puma's best ever speed boot by a large margin. I think it's that good. And I think what this football boot did really well is objectively it brought back super lightweight speed boots. Because I look back to 2010, and obviously it's very relevant to talk about the original F50 Adizero lately. I mean, you've had your hands all in that area as well. The reason why that boot made such a splash and had such a big impact is because of how light they were. And ever since then, speed boots have gotten heavier and heavier and heavier to the point where they're still not heavy. But you would think that boots would at least maintain the same level of weight as what they were in 2010. And the Ultra gets back to that. This is probably the only football boot you're going to pick up out of all the regular models and be like, wow, those don't weigh anything. And then when you add in the comfort aspect and the incorporation of a knitted upper that has structure, has softness, feels comfortable on your feet, it's so well rounded. And I know it looks like a very simple football boot in comparison to, I would say, everything on this list. It's definitely the most simple.
It is so not simple. This Matrix Evo upper is so complicated to do that when they actually had to just redo the pattern of the graphics that's woven into the upper for the 2.1 instead of the 1.2, whatever it's called. 2.1, 1.2. Anyway,
I think it's
the blue one. Yeah. They actually had to redo the entire process of how the upper is constructed because it's so intricate, right? So it's anything but simple.
Yeah, it is for me. That's the speed boot. If you want super light, that's the speed boot to have right now, I would say.
And again, it's 200 euros. So no matter what you think and where it should be on the list, it's hard to be something with so much quality for that amount of money.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the cheapest football boot on this list by a significant chunk.
Absolutely. So there you have it, my friends. The official Boot Nerds podcast top 5 best boots of 2020 list. Of course, if you want to go and hear what Josh and I think, personally, we have very different opinions on where the boot should be. I think we agree on most of them. somewhere in that area at least. Go and check out the top 5 videos that are coming up on either of our channels, on Soccer Reviews for You and on Unisport, because you can hear where we disagree and what we think, and shots might be fired in one of the videos at least. Now that I know your list.
Okay, we'll see.
Let's see what happens.
I look forward to it.
No shots fired from you. You're Canadian. You're too nice.
Oh, I mean, if there's going to be pictures on the internet of you wearing a full zebra suit, then
okay, yeah,
we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, let's stay friends then. I'm gonna play nice. I messed up today, didn't I? Yeah, that's not really. Before we do anything, I just have to. You keep talking. I just have to find a picture on Instagram, a meme. I promised to send to you. That's
yes,
really,
we did. I think it was in episode 91. There were some memeable moments that we asked you guys to submit some memes. Thank you to everyone that did. I believe Jay is pulling up what is his favorite or his favorites, because there definitely were some pretty funny ones that people made.
This is a good one. So I'm just going to show it on the screen right now, and I'm just going to send it over to Josh. This is from my guy Holland, who it's pretty fun. We've actually discussed this topic before. So basically it says, do you see it? J-Mike? Puma? And Josh is like, and he gets all these Neymar images in his head. And also
great.
he can't
it's like
pronounce Puma.
Horrible Neymar flashbacks or
Yes.
something like that.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's very clever. Super creative.
Just wanted to bring it up. But guys, we also have a couple of questions. As always, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section right down below. For various reasons, we might not be able to answer all of them in the next couple of episodes. We'll tell you more about that as things happen. But I may or may not be around for a couple of weeks because apart from releasing football boots, other big things are happening in my life. There might be a new boot nerd entering the world at some point. So, I might be gone for a little while, but I'll be back answering your questions. So if you have any, leave them in the comment section right down below, and we'll get back to you. With that said, we have some right here that we can take now. Lawrence Newman, what are the best takedowns in 2020? I'm a teen and still growing, so I don't want to break the bank as I will need a pair in less than a year's time. Good question. We don't know the budget here, right? But yeah.
Yeah, let's assume mid-tier takedown model is acceptable. I think Adidas really stepped up their 0.2 takedown model game this year. I think Pred 20.2 and even X Ghosted 0.2 are both really decent.
Very good, yeah.
Nike's pro level takedowns are pretty solid across the board right now.
I'm not sold on the GTs, to be honest. I'd probably go Legend or Merc.
Yeah, I would agree with that one for sure. I've always said Nike Premier 2, I think, is a really solid boot for the money.
Yes. And we shouldn't forget the Mizuno boots. So if we talk about this like 120, 150 euro price point, their elite stuff is a little more expensive, but you can also go down a level. I know you can get, I don't know what it's called actually. Is that the Pro? Might be the Pro. But they have a level below the elite level that's also very, very good from what I've seen. And the Puma boots are actually also pretty decent. I don't understand the new Puma naming system, so it might be the 1.3 or the 3.1s. I don't get it, but like the mid-tier takedown Ultra is also surprisingly nice. And since the normal Ultra is already very cheap, a lot of value for money, you can also go and find something there. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, always look at what's on sale. There were so many new boots this year that you can get last year's models for a lot less. And that's always almost always a better option. It's just buy last year's colorways and or boots for half the price.
Exactly. We have one from Pavel Stanchuk. Hello again. Please tell me why Adidas brand didn't release Adidas Predator 20.1 Low in colorway Human Race by Pharrell Williams. I don't understand. We need this so much. Can you, Josh, can you explain why that happened? Apollo, we're asking the same question. I think if you watched our content, you will know that we have been screaming our lungs off to actually get a low-cut fusion skin human race predator. Why they passed on this opportunity, I don't know.
Look, here's the thing. We look at from where they killed the F-50 line in 2015, and we kind of got it back 5 years later. So if we start complaining now, in 5 years' time, we might get it.
We might get it. Let's hope that people at
2025.
Adidas are watching and listening to the Boot Nerds podcast and actually taking note that I think this is not only us. I've heard from so many people that they agree with this. This is it's an amazing looking pair of boots and it's really cool, but it's like a gigantic missed opportunity. It's such a shame. It would have been so ridiculously awesome and easy, boot of the year contender. Both from like a limited point of view drop, everything. It wouldn't cleaned up, but that's the way it goes. So Pavel, we have no idea why they made this decision because they have to take. It was so easy, man.
It's unfortunate. Adidas, if you're watching, we don't even want 10%. Just make them.
Just do it, please. You can take.
You can't tell Adidas to just do it. That's like so against the rules. Now they're not going to do it.
No,
Don't
go
do
all
it.
in. Impossible is nothing. Please. You can take some of the 10% you owe us from other advice we've given you and actually use this on that. Well, just please. Yes. Giacatelli Hot Dog FC. Weird name. And speaking of names, the question is, can Josh say his whole name backwards? You're allowed to write it down and say it. You can just work on that a little bit because I'm going to go into Charlie Stewart. You guys should do a video and make your dream all-time lineup for each top brand. Take any generation of stylo and make the ideal 3-boot lineup for each of the top brands, taking into consideration the need for variety in a brand's lineup, speed, leather, control, power. I think that would be really interesting. And I thought about it. I think it's brilliant. That's great and brilliant in one word. It's a brilliant concept. But also, I got a little bit worried that we would basically just pick their current boots because from at least my point of view, performance-wise, the newest boots would be the best, and those would be the boots that I would have in my lineup. But from a sales point of view, we could probably do something different. We'll keep it in mind. What do you think?
I was focusing really hard on spelling my name backwards.
What's your name then?
Okay.
This is going to be awesome.
It's Aouhasaj. That's my first name. My last name would be Sivojuv. Actually, it's not that bad.
Sivojuv.
I thought that would be a lot harder. Actually, I would say
Sasaj.
Aouhasaj.
Okay.
Sivojuv.
That
not that
sounds.
bad.
That actually sounds a little bit like Middle Eastern Arabic.
It does.
Aouhasaj.
Totally does.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's cool.
It's not that bad. Actually, you know what? I was a little bit intimidated by that question,
How
but
do I say, pronounce my name backwards just to see? Wow, that's going to be.
that doesn't even make sense. At least in my head.
Nah.
Dude, I actually had to I completely did not listen to that whole question and your answer because I had to focus that hard to spell my name backwards.
Okay.
And also try not to write the letters backwards.
Right.
I don't know.
Okay. I got it a little bit easier, but I'm called Bokaij Saitham Nesleakim.
Wow.
Yeah.
You sound like a samurai warrior or something.
thank
I don't know
you.
what
Thank
you
you.
would be.
Nesleakim,
Sounds
that's
pretty
pretty cool.
It's pretty. Yours is cooler sounding than mine is.
Okay. Well,
in my opinion.
Okay. I like the what was it again? Your first name?
Aouhasaj.
I love you have to look the Aouhasaj. That's pretty cool. Sounds like something out of Aladdin and some. That's pretty cool. Like that would be a badass villain name. Aouhasaj.
I would. Yeah, totally. I agree.
Okay. So Charlie, yeah, we answered that. You had a brilliant idea. We're going to do it one day. Management decision. Lennon Rook, what if Adidas did a new Copa Mundial kind of like the Puma King Platinum? Haven't they done that already in the Copa 20 pluses? The point ones?
No, because I think the Copa 20 Plus is still a pretty big diversion from what can be considered traditional.
Fair
I
enough.
think you can still look at the King Platinum, and while it has like modern styling and design elements to it, it's still moderately traditional, as I would like to say on the podcast, right?
buy that.
So to me, I think Adidas's attempt at a Puma King Platinum concept on a Copa was actually the Adipure one. That was probably the most pure, no pun intended, that was the most pure attempt at taking a kangaroo leather football boot and modernizing it without making it bulky. And again, we'd love to see it with modern tooling. I think we've mentioned this on several episodes already,
yes.
but
Yes.
that would be the last time they did something that simple.
I think
Adipure 3 maybe was not too bad either.
Yeah, Copa 20.2 could be, somewhere along the lines of something.
Yeah, it'd be nice. It'd be cool to get a Copa 20.2 with more premium materials.
That would not be bad, actually.
That would be sweet.
That would be pretty sweet, yeah. But I see what you're saying. Just we'll take an Adipure 1 remake, Adidas, and take 20% because it's a great idea. But that also concludes all of our questions for this episode 93 of the Boot Nerds podcast. I just wanted to bring up again that for episode 94 and especially for 2021, we need to knock into Josh's head. Now he's able to say Puma. Let's work on Adidas. Yeah.
We're going to work on it.
You have to say 10
My
times
New Year's
before
resolution.
you fall asleep every day. Adidas. Adidas.
Okay. We'll work on it. We'll work on it.
Great stuff.
Adidas.
Yeah.
Got
Okay.
it.
So
Got it.
let us know if you have any questions in the comment section right down below. Don't forget to go subscribe to the channel with the notifications on by clicking the white bubble in the middle of the screen. Leave us a like if you had a good time as well. And also don't forget to go subscribe to our individual channels over our heads. And with those words, I've been J Mike, and I proved this message. Have a great one, guys.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.